Welcome to The Patty Show. My name is Patty Setiatti, and in this podcast, we'll explore the crossing point of the three P's: passion, pleasure, and positivity, and how they can lead you to your own personal paradise. We'll chat with inspiring guests, share practical tips, and dive into stories that will empower you to live your best life. Let's get the Patty Party started. Welcome back to The Patty Show, everybody. Woo! Oh my God. Studio audience, thank you very much. We got a new setup today. We're going to get to that in a little bit. But before we start the Patty Show, this new episode 31, crazy.
31.
Time flies by. Passion, unlocking your purpose. I just want to give a huge thank you and shout out and arigato for the last episode. I got my boy Cedric and, of course, the Indonesian princess as well, Victoria. Y'all doing amazing things. I'm excited for the movie to come out next week, April 4th or 5th. I'm so bad with dates, bro. To be honest, I think the links are going to be on the Patty Show. You guys are going to have a fun time. You're going to see a lot of dancing. Emphasis on me dancing. So just get ready for the short film. I can't spoil too much. It's a fun, crazy ride, but I appreciate you guys, young filmmakers, Indonesian filmmakers, making Indonesia proud, and always bring the best vibe on set. And great vibes. That's what the Patty Show is about. And speaking of great vibes, today we have a very special guest, y'all, on episode 31 of the Patty Show. Joining me today, my guest. He's a runner that is faster than anyone I've ever seen in real life. He makes Usain Bolt look super slow. He has style better than any Abercrombie model. He also does coding and music as well. He does it all. We met at a random time, and I'm glad we did because this is my brother. Give it up for Leo, my man. Give it up. Woo!
Wow, what an introduction. Thank you, Patty.
Thank you, my man. Thank you, my man. Thanks for it. First of all, this is his little set area over here. Another fellow creative, my boy Leo here. He's gonna do a little. You can talk about your little life story real quick. Background.
Yeah, I could give a little quick life story.
Give us a little quick glimpse of what Leo is about, my man. Please.
Yeah, it all started in Mexico.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
I was born. Yeah, and I moved here when I was 2. Yeah, so I don't remember anything from Mexico, but grew up in SoCal.
Yes, sir.
With my parents, and I grew up in Moore Park, California, which is very suburban. It's like 40 minutes out of LA, and I was a kid that just like respected authority and did well in school, kept my head down, very chill, and I loved math and science. I felt like like English and like the artsy classes.
Yeah, the creative stuff was that's not.
That one was a little harder. Like that one was like, because I like numbers, man, because it's just like it's very strict. It's like if you do this, you follow the rules, like you'll get what you need.
Yeah. 1 + 1 is 2.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
Like when it comes to like poetry, you're like, what do you think about this? And I'm like, it could be 50 different answers,
it's so
right?
Subjective, yeah. And like I have this clear memory of back in middle school when we read like some Edgar Allan Poe short story or whatever, and the teacher was like, "Leo, what do you think this means?" And I'm a freaking 10-year-old kid. Like, I'm just like, is it this, I guess? And they're like, incorrect. And I was like, what? Like, how could you possibly just know what
for real,
so it was really frustrating. So I was a math and science kid through and through. And then end of high school, I was like, I know what I want to do. I want to be a physicist.
Oh my goodness. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. Spoilers.
Physicist. Okay.
Yeah. Because, I love how math is so concrete, right? Very straightforward. And I loved how physics explain the world around us using math, right?
Yes,
so it's like the same idea. It's like you want to know why an airplane doesn't fall out of the sky. You want to know why, like, when you spin something around like a bucket of water, the water doesn't spill out of the bucket.
Interesting.
Like, it just explains your daily life and like the way light moves and all this stuff. Like it's really interesting.
Like impact and force, like with running and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that.
Exactly. You're connecting the dots here.
See, I'm learning that. I'm learning right there. So were you running a lot in like high school then?
I was, yeah. I did cross country.
Cross country, man. This guy, man, does it all.
So running every day and loving math and science, and then got to college, and I very quickly had my early quarter life crisis and realized that I don't know if physics is it for me, man. I don't know if it's it. And then college was a little tough. It was my first time away from home. I went to MIT out in Boston.
Shout out MIT, Boston, Bostonians.
Yeah,
got a lot of Bostonian friends.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're crazy out there. I'm not gonna.
that cold is something else, man.
Oh yeah, man. I can't imagine. I don't know how you survived, bro.
I was excited to go over there because I was like, okay, I'm gonna have like a white Christmas finally.
Yeah.
Because in SoCal, it's Christmas and it's always like 80 degrees.
Yeah,
So you
yeah,
never
yeah.
get to experience what you see on the movies.
Hmm.
So I was really excited for that. And then I got there and I was like, oh, I didn't realize White Christmas lasts like 8 months. I didn't realize,
And then the jackets, you have to wear like 3 different layers,
bro.
bro. Oh my god,
I never got the right jacket. Yeah, I
bro,
was,
it's terrible, bro. And then also Mexican blood, like he's not ready for.
yeah, I
He
was not
definitely was
ready.
not ready
Yeah,
for. The,
my family didn't prepare me. Yeah, I went snowboarding out here, but it's just different. It's
yeah,
different
it
when
is
it's your
different.
daily life. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Because if snowboarding is like, yeah, you're doing it for fun. This now you have to get to classes. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but
And
it teaches you to appreciate, right? Because then I
absolutely,
came back and I was like, I'll never take the sun for granted again, dude. I'll never.
you know, for real, for
Yeah,
real. So after, so there, you said you had a kind of transition moment of.
I did. Yeah,
So did you end up majoring in physics, or what did you end up
I
majoring
did
in?
not. Yeah, so after I decided that physics wasn't it, I was like, okay, well, what do I want to do, right? Because like, what is my passion?
Hmm.
What do I
Hmm.
want to pursue? And what I landed on was, well, I love movies, and MIT does have like some classes I can take to get like a comparative media studies major,
Mm,
where it's like,
okay, okay.
it's a little bit of a junk drawer
Yeah,
major
yeah,
because it's
yeah.
like comparative media studies. What does that mean? It's like, oh, you can just study like a bunch of different kinds of like art
Hmm.
and media and like see how they interact and like whatever direction you want to go with. So I decided to focus on film. And then everyone and their mom takes the intro to computer science class at MIT for their like sophomore
Yeah,
spring
yeah,
or
yeah.
no freshman spring,
Uh
sorry.
huh.
And so I decided to take it too. And I've been using computers my whole life, 2000s kid, right? Like just playing video games and like writing on Microsoft Word. Like you just get used to it. And so then taking the classes and learning how they work is like the itch, that same itch I had in high school for understanding how the world works, right?
Mm,
Because I
oh, it's all
understood
connected.
how
Yeah.
computers work. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool actually. And yeah, like coding, it's just like solving a puzzle. Like all the puzzle pieces, you just have to arrange them in the right way and then you get what you want and you see the picture and it's really satisfying.
Mm,
And so
okay.
I decided, I'll do both. And that's what I ended up doing. Yeah, I ended up graduating with computer science and then also comparative media studies.
Oh, that's awesome, bro. That I
Mm.
was wondering because this guy does it all. You've been working at that other place for like 4 years.
For my current job,
Yeah,
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 yeah. What is that exactly? Is it coding? What is the
yeah. It's software engineering, so
soft? Okay,
it's full stack software engineering. So it's like
full
working on
stack.
full stack,
Okay, full
baby.
stack.
We don't have it,
We
yeah,
don't have out here full stacks
yeah. Because
for the stacks of money. You know.
yeah, you probably heard it before. Like what it means is just like when you go on a website, like you are interacting with the website, right? Like you
Hmm.
go on Google, you type in the
You
search
type in.
bar. That's like front end because that's like the
Okay.
front of the website. You're seeing all that, you're interacting with that. But when you like click on buttons and you submit stuff, that goes somewhere,
Oh, bro. Okay,
and that's
okay.
the back end.
Yo, okay. I'm learning now more stuff, yo.
Yeah,
I'm learning more stuff. Okay. Oh, front end, back end. Oh, that
yeah.
makes sense. So like whatever you press, the back end stuff is the one that triggers it
So
to do the
the back
different
end stuff is
actions.
like the brain that's working behind the scenes.
Mm.
It's like you can kind of think of it as like your computer is communicating through the internet with
Hmm.
the website's computer. And the website's computer is the back end. So that's the one that like stores all your data and like processes it. It's the one that like makes the reservation for your restaurant. And then the front end is like your computer presenting like the thing, like the portal
Ah.
basically, right? And so full stack engineers work on both the front end and the back end.
Oh man.
But people can like get way more like advanced if they just focus on one. It's like it's all about like what your company needs and like
Hmm.
what you're trying to do. But yeah, I like it a lot.
Bro, that's so cool,
Yeah,
man.
it's fun.
I'm learning more and more each time, man.
Yeah,
And how does this connect with the music side of things? Because if you already know, Leo is also a musician over here.
I am. Yeah.
How did you transition to that?
Well, I guess I've always loved music. Like I don't know when you think about your own music taste and where it comes from. I mean, for me, it was my dad. Like right, like driving to school in the morning, my dad put on like the best '80s hits that he
Mm.
loved, and then like he really liked the Beatles, so I listened to the Beatles a lot.
Ah, okay.
And that was like the basis of my love for music. And I remember my dad like got a guitar and a keyboard and like had them in the house, but like they would just sit there, when like because he wasn't playing them too much because he was busy with work. But I think when I was like 10 years old, I started messing around on the keyboard
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like Mozart, man. I was like, oh my God, like
Yeah.
I'm so good at this, but like really I'm not. I'm a kid just messing around on the keyboard.
Yeah.
But it's so satisfying to like just like interact with something and then like hear the results.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like learning a language, right? You're just messing around. Like when you're a baby, you're just making oohs and ahs and blah blah
Yeah,
blahs.
yeah,
You don't
random
know what's
stuff.
going on, but it's so exciting to like be something in this universe that is creating, that is like
Mm.
affecting things around you, right? And so it's really satisfying, even though I didn't know what I was doing. And like I had like an intro like for kids music class in
Uh-huh.
my elementary school. It was like once a week they would like teach us the basics of like notes and like rhythm or whatever. And so knowing that, once I, got into high school, had my heart broken by a girl, and then decided to pick a guitar because that's what I heard girls like,
Yeah, yeah. I know that part, bro. I know that part.
But then I realized, like, oh man, like playing this guitar, like it's just such a good way to express emotion and like get it out. It's like impromptu journaling, like through sound. And I was like, okay, I actually don't really care about girls anymore. Like this is really sad. And
you needed the breakup to find out that you loved it. So
exactly, yeah. And in middle school, I also picked up drums because like I was into like a metal hard rock phase, like Slipknot, Linkin Park.
Oh yeah, Linkin Park.
That was also when like the Guitar Hero World Tour came out with like the drum set thing. You know about that?
Bro, of course, bro. Band Hero, all of those, bro.
Yeah,
Come on
exactly,
now. Oh
exactly.
my goodness.
And so I was doing that for a bit, and then like I don't know, it maps like pretty realistically to an actual drum set. And so then I learned I learned all the basics from the Guitar Hero like video game, and so then I got a guitar or a drum set from my parents that I had to pay most for because my parents made me work for my things.
Love that, yeah.
And you got to teach them early.
Absolutely, no, absolutely. When we got kids, bro, I'm like, you guys got to learn everything.
Yeah.
Because nowadays have like iPads already, bro, like 2 years old.
That's crazy.
It's insane, bro. I used to have the Nokia phone, bro, like that.
Yeah.
Or BlackBerry. Well, it wasn't even BlackBerry because in Indonesia they have those bootleg Blackberries, bro.
Oh yeah.
So it looks like a BlackBerry, the small little buttons. I'm pretty sure it was like a blueberry. I kid you not, my phone was like a dark blueberry color. Whoa. I'm pretty sure it was called Blueberry, if I am not mistaken. That's all we could afford, but it's okay though. It teaches you a lot. But yeah, bro. So you were just playing with all these instruments and just.
I was just messing around, man. And then whenever I had free time in high school, which was not like often because heads down working, I would just like make little snippets of songs, record the guitar, write some lyrics. No one will ever see those because any art, the first things you make, they're not going to be genius level.
Oh yeah, bro, I got some clips. I know those skits are crazy. Yeah.
You're just learning so much. Yeah, you're learning so much, and like so I look back on them and I'm like, ooh, okay, it's a little rough, but the core is there, right? Like the emotions are there, and it's just about like learning the language and like refining it. And so like now the songs I make today, like it's way more full fleshed and like I know what I'm doing now. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it, bro. Like especially with art, like we mentioned it earlier, how like it's so interpretive. It both sucks because also like you're saying with the whole what is it Edgar Allan Poe, you're like, I don't know what the right answer is, but it's also the beauty of it. Like there's always interpretation. You can always spin things. Like the podcast, I can do whatever, which can be scary sometimes because I don't know what to expect, what my guests are gonna say, what I'm gonna say. Sometimes I say some out of pocket stuff. I get out of here. Love you, mom. But then there's the beauty of that because you really don't know what to expect. Yeah. Just like life, and actually that's how we met.
Yeah, true. Yeah, very unexpected. Yeah.
Very, very unexpected. What's your side of the story?
Yeah, let me tell my side.
And then I'll tell you mine. Yeah.
So I'm a runner, right? And I've just found that one of the biggest things that I wrestled with after college, when like I was feeling kind of lost and like kind of sad and just like feeling unfulfilled, I was like, I would always look back on high school because that's where I felt like very like I was in my bag, dude. I was like doing shit and like I was really like on a trajectory towards my goals, and that's when I remember being like very satisfied with life. And I was like, what is the difference? What is the difference? Yeah. And I realized one day, I was like, oh, I was running every day. And that's good for your brain, man. Just that all the neurochemicals that spin around when you get going and you get your blood pumping, like that makes a difference. And so then I started running again. And when I moved to LA, I found out there's like run clubs. So I was like,
everywhere.
Okay, let's see about these run clubs.
See what's up.
And I heard about the K-Town Run Club, Koreatown. For those who know
shout out Koreatown.
And I went. And I didn't know anybody, but it was pretty big. It was like maybe like 100.
It was a lot, yeah. Thursday night, Thursday night's crazy.
Yeah, and then I think the run was about to start, and I saw this good-looking Indonesian dude, and I was
guys me up too much. You guys me.
And I was like, this guy looks like he knows the route. This guy looks like he knows. And I was like, yo, do you know like where to go? And I feel like you didn't know. Actually.
No, I did.
Yeah, but you just look so trustworthy. I was like,
I appreciate you.
Well, it's okay. We can still run together and figure it out together, you know? And it was a great conversation. Very surprised. Yeah, I felt like just that same wavelength. Real recognizes real, you know?
Yeah. Bro, this is my flower section, y'all. Flower. I'll pay you for that compliment
Yeah,
later, bro. You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? But bro, honestly, that was such a great day, bro, because there was so many people. Thursday nights for the run club, it's like it's packed.
Truly,
So many
yeah.
people. Everyone's super dope. But yeah, I remember you asking like, hey, "Do you know where the route is?" And I'm so bad with directions, to be honest. I was like, "We really are gonna find this out together, my man." And it was crazy. We did like a 3 miler, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was pretty chill.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
pretty chill pace. But I'm impressed because I'm not a runner like you, bro. I've never done like cross country. I play soccer and just
Okay,
sports every
yeah.
now and then. But I was impressed because we could have a conversation while running. So
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
already a good green flag. And then ever since, man, we've been chopping it up. We've done like we did that run with Yannick. Remember?
Oh,
That was
yeah.
fun too. Shout out Yannick. He was on the podcast. We miss you, bro. But yeah, man. Ever since you've always been a great vibe, bro. Thank you for having me in this area. The tea. I haven't even tried the
Oh,
tea
yeah,
yet,
let's try
yo.
this tea.
Let's try the tea.
Lemon
Pat
ginger
tea.
tea.
Cheers. You got the same one?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's good, bro. What's the tea with Patty? You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be the next
That's right.
sponsor. Oh, that's good. But bro, I love the crib, everything over here. You know, okay,
You got
little
my
spot
pet?
over
Yeah,
here.
I
I,
got
I didn't even realize
little
it.
daddy long leg. Yeah.
Daddy Long, we're just chilling over here. But man, I'm glad that we met. We have a lot of funny memories. Like we have a lot of funny stories, y'all. Randomly, yeah. Leo's one of those guys. Like I'll hit him up. He's like, "You down to do this?" He's like, "Bet." Just say when. So that's why I always appreciate it. It's hard to find people like that nowadays.
Yeah.
So hold on to them while you can.
Yeah, you gotta be spontaneous. Otherwise, you'll never run into Rich Brian at an Indonesian party.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was crazy too. Like, oh man, I don't think we fully fleshed it out on the podcast, but shout out to Sam, Brian, and Gali. They were also all on the
Yeah,
podcast.
that was a good crew. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun time. I invited. It was like pretty last minute. I was like, bro, I'm there's I don't even know how to explain it. It's a DJ, Indonesian DJ set with like 5 different DJ, like Indonesian DJ artists,
Yeah.
whatever. They were doing something and like I don't even remember where it was, near a Jack in the Box, I think.
I don't know. Yeah.
So something like that. And some of the homies were like, "Yeah, we're helping organize this. Just pull up." I'm like, "Bet, let's all go." So this guy's also a dancer. We were just vibing out the whole night, listening to the music, good energy. And then Rich Brian was there for some reason. Made sense. He's Indonesian, so shout out to all the Indonesians. But yeah, man, that was a really fun time, man.
Yeah.
The music, man, shout out to those DJs, man. They're playing a lot of the Indonesian throwbacks, actually, bro.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I was culturally immersed, bro. Yeah.
he learned. He became Indonesian real quick. He's like, "Yeah, I'm blended in, man."
Like, everybody just like knew the song and like
Yeah,
was singing lyrics, and I was like, I don't know what this is, but this is good. Like this
yeah,
is a
bro.
good
See,
vibe. This like rhythm, this melody, like I can get on board for
bro,
sure.
and that's another flowers, bro. You always brought the good vibe, bro. Like the
Yeah.
fact
I
that you
appreciate
didn't
that.
know
Yeah.
any Indonesian or anything like that, bro. You were like, "Man, I'm having a fun time." That's what it's all about, you know. But you do know some Indonesian though, because don't you have like a friend or something like that?
I've had a few Indonesian friends.
There
Yeah.
we go. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why it was so funny, man. This guy, Mr. Worldwide. I'm trying to learn from him.
Yeah.
Maybe we get a trip to Indonesia soon.
Yeah. That'd be fun. That'd be fun.
Music video in Indonesia. Oh, that'd be fun, bro. Music video in Indonesia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me know when we'll record it.
Okay.
But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on the Patty Show. Thanks for having me on your beautiful space.
Yeah.
Let's go to our first talking point. Like I said, it takes a while for us to get to the first talking point. Just vibing a little bit. Okay, so our first talking point today, we're gonna talk about passion's impact. Okay.
Mm.
First question I got for you is, what sparks passion, and how does it change lives, specifically your life?
What sparks passion? I mean, that question makes me think of that early crisis I had in college,
Mm-hmm.
where like because I thought my passion was physics, right? Like I loved the way to explain the world, and I was like, I want to go on to be those people that like discover black holes and
Yeah,
like
something crazy.
understand how they work and stuff like that. And I just remember sitting in a lecture one day, and they were going over like all these old physicists and like the black and white pictures and saying what they did, and I looked around and like nobody was giving a shit, man. I mean, granted, it was a freshman year course, but like I was just like, damn, like nobody cares about these guys and like what they did, man. And then it was also like around the same time that like those guys, like those monks that like hand out the books like in the street,
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah. So one day I just picked one up because I was like, yeah, like let's see what's in it. And the first chapter was about like this interview of a guy interviewing this, I think maybe he was a monk or some kind of religious leader, but he was saying like, hey, what do you think about like science and research and how it plays in like the world and like how people should like interact with it? And he was saying like, okay, like look at this tree. You can spend your whole life understanding how the tree gets the nutrients from the earth, how it takes the sunlight and makes food, how it just does all these things. And you can understand to every detail how it all works, or you can just admire the tree. And that just like broke my brain. Because I was like, well, like, because that was my whole thing, right? Like I wanted to understand how everything worked, but I was like, maybe that's not what it's all about. Maybe it's just about admiring everything, and like you don't need to know everything about how it works, you know. And so I was like, you know, starting to hesitate, like maybe this isn't what I want to do. And then I went to a physics lab, bro, and like they're just not the most aesthetic places, I'll say. And like I didn't know at the time, but like I'm a person that like I care a lot about my environment, my visual environment. And, like I'm very like susceptible to like just visual like tones and emotions. You know what I mean?
Lighting. Shout out to the lighting.
Yeah,
If you guys can't notice, my boy Leo, he set it up. We figured it out. What was the catchphrase from Amazon?
Oh yeah, you can get it. Yeah.
You can get it. Apparently, that's what Amazon is trying to tell us. You can get it. I don't know why. Yeah, but okay, the environment wasn't like appealing.
Yeah, and so that's when I just was really doubting that physics was my passion. Because the other thing is that with physics, the main avenue you go into after studying physics is like academia, right? Like research or being a professor.
All that.
And I just felt like if I did my whole, like if I gave my whole life to researching physics, and then at the end of it didn't have like any Nobel Prize or anything to show for it, I would just like feel really sad.
No, that's fair.
I was like, oh man,
nothing to show for it.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's when I realized physics isn't my passion, man. Because your passion is something that you can do your whole life, have nothing to show for it, and I've still loved the ride. Right?
Oh, that's fire.
But that's what it is.
That's fire.
Yeah. And because otherwise, like you're just chasing something. And passion is about every day being in like flow. You know about that, like flow?
Yeah, the flow state, bro. Yeah, of course.
Just like where your whole mind and body and soul are just fully like being used to do something that brings you joy and like grows you in the way that you want to grow.
Yeah, it's like challenging, but it's not like killing you.
Exactly.
It's that sweet spot. Yeah. And honestly, it connects a lot with like the running, bro. For example, when you hit that like runner's high, so to speak.
So true.
Whatever they call it. We don't condone, you know, illegal substance use, whatever. All the fatty shit. But like, you know, like where it's like it is was it uncomfortable, but it's like you can feel it.
Do it.
Yeah. It's a weird like in between. It's not like you're full on sprinting for 5 minutes, 10 minutes or something like. It's like that sweet spot. If you know it, you know it. And chasing that flow, man, it connects. I'm glad that you connected those two with the passion, bro, because that's. And with the fact that you said that, what was it exactly? You said it's something that
you can do your whole life and have nothing to show for it, and still really enjoyed the ride. That's all that matters. Yeah.
Bro, this guy is just spitting bars right here, bro. Man, oh my goodness, we're oh, we gotta share the what is it? The Spotify though, bro. What's the the music? By the way, y'all gotta listen to his music.
True, yeah. So I guess this is kind of like the rest of my life story. So after college, I decided to work at a restaurant because I was just like, I feel like everyone should do like a service job at least once in their life.
I agree.
Understand what's behind the doors. And then I joined this like really small computer science academy for kids startup. And then Boston winter was just too much for me. So then I moved to California, kept working for that academy remote. And then right when quarantine hit, I was listening to those old snippets of songs I wrote in high school. And then I was just like, man, I don't want to be like 40 years old and never having like really tried it, never having given it my all.
Yeah.
And so then that's when I quit that job, and then I had 6 months of runway to just focus on music, and that's what I did. And quarantine was the perfect time. Like we all remember, we had nothing but time on our hands.
Yeah, bro.
And so I was just learning everything I could about music production, and like I came out with 2 songs and 2 music videos.
Yes, sir.
And then I ran out of money, as an artist can do.
Yeah, that's what happens, man.
And then luckily I had a friend that put me onto the job I have now.
Oh, perfect.
And so since then, it has been figuring out the balance of a full-time job and making the music. But my Spotify is Leopoldo. That's 2 words.
Leopoldo.
And it's actually my full name broken up into 2. Yeah, think about that.
Hold up. Really?
Yeah, because my full name is Leopoldo.
Oh.
Yeah, so my artist name is just 2.
There we go. I was curious. I was like, who is this? I was like, did he make up a different name? Yeah. That's interesting, bro. Would you ever change the stage name at all to anything different, or do you like how it is?
I've thought about that. Yeah.
Some people I know, they usually like to. You know, I feel like names are such a powerful thing. Like Obviously, my government name is Patrick, y'all. Like, if y'all didn't know, uh, honestly, the origin of Patty probably comes. I can't even remember honestly. Maybe high school. It's also high school, bro. Like some friends were calling me that. I'm like, oh, it's kind of catchy, you know, it's a little catchy. And then my last name is well, in Americans call it Setiati, but it's like Setiati, but that the E part and then the Pat. So I feel like it makes sense, you know, Patty. You know,
Mm.
so I made a rhythm and rhyme to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I feel like names are so like important. That's why I guess I was like curious about like that name, the Poldo thing. Like, and
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you were ever to maybe make it longer or sort of just like Leo, like you know how Beyonce just Beyonce. Would you ever do that?
Maybe one day. I don't know. It was hard coming up with a name because my music styles they vary. Like I've got
Oh
songs
yeah.
that are aggressive. I got songs that are very soft and emotional. I've got songs that are a little more upbeat, some that are slower. And so, because usually an artist name, like you can tell the general vibe, right, or the
Mm-hmm.
genre at least,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
If
that's
it's
true.
like, um, like Death to Rain, it's
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
like a more aggressive, like something
All
more.
American Rejects.
Yeah,
Shout out to
right.
them. You know, it's like a
Exactly.
little
Yeah.
punk rock. You know.
Yeah. But with me, like I I feel like as humans we are capable of so many different emotions, right? Like we've all seen Inside Out. We've all seen like
Mm-hmm.
how many things we are capable. Like different emotions can be so nuanced. Like you're not just sad. You're like melancholic or you're like
Oof.
nostalgic, right?
Yeah, my
And
father poet. Okay, he took it to heart in
yeah,
elementary school. He's like,
yeah,
I'm a poet now, teacher.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, you got it wrong.
You gotta call her up. This yeah.
Yeah, bro. Let's
This
go.
teacher that didn't
We'll,
believe
we'll
in me.
call her in. We'll call her in
Yeah,
right now. Is that this is the Patty Show? Do you remember your student from how many years
yeah. Who's
ago?
incorrect now?
Yeah, but that's so crazy, bro. I can't imagine. School back then it was so different though. Like I know we were talking about how like kids nowadays have iPads and everything, but like school, just the generations, bro. It's crazy. Like
Yeah, I
the
have no idea what's going on in school these days. Yeah.
it's wild, bro. Because my youngest sibling, he's what is he? 13 years younger than me, so he's like I think he's like 13 or 14, something like that.
Whoa.
And the amount of technology they have, you know, social media, and then the jokes that they can get from social media is I can't even say on the show to be honest. It's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
I know we were twisted when we were younger, but we didn't have like
Yeah.
Instagram posting all the crazy stuff, bro. It's just a lot, especially because like now you can like the dark web is part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's a whole different world. I mean, I don't know.
True. I can't imagine growing up just like because we grew up with like a water fountain of information. They're growing up with a fire hose, man.
Oof, that's a good analogy. That's true, bro. You can get anything, bro. Nowadays, you literally like you can look up the craziest stuff online, and if
Yeah.
it's blocked, there's another way to
Yeah.
to
There's always
find
a
it.
way. The
There's
kids always find a way.
bro,
Yeah.
for real, bro. That's why it's kind of crazy. The whole like, I mean, that's the work I do with Meta, like jailbreaking stuff. Like they call it like red teaming. So just making sure
Mm-hmm.
people aren't sick in the head. It's good for the
Mm-hmm.
creative writing, but mentally, I'm like, man, I don't know how people can think about all this crazy stuff. It's all the creatives that are not in the same wavelength as us. We're just good vibes
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
Patty Show. We're just passion and good energy. You know what I'm saying? To follow up on the passion question, though,
Oh
bro.
yeah. Yeah.
How can the passion fuel your resilience and your happiness,
Yeah.
so to speak? How does that passion fuel it, my man, for you personally?
For me personally, I think well, when you're passionate about something, you have a vision, right? That's the driving
Mm-hmm.
force. Because like my vision for myself is I have art that I want to create and share with people the same way that I used to listen to music growing up and be inspired by the messages or feel just
Mm-hmm.
like the way I resonated with the messages and like felt like I wasn't alone in whatever like emotions or thoughts. Like I want to do the same for other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like that's my vision. Like I want to like just spread messages that I care about and perform and like uplift people. And that's what keeps me going. Like that's where the resilience comes from because I'm like, I know I can make it there. I don't know what the journey looks like. I don't know where the hills and valleys are,
Mm-hmm.
but I know I can get there. And whenever you make progress, that's momentum, right? Because like I remember, so I moved to LA about a year and a half ago, right,
Mm-hmm.
from SF, and I was there for a number of years, and I was doing the startup or the software engineering thing,
Yeah, yeah,
and I was trying to balance with like making music and
yeah. The creative and then the nine
yeah,
to five stuff.
and
Yeah,
it's hard,
it's
man.
tiring.
It's
Yeah.
really because you've got your 9 to 5, and you've got your social life,
Mm-hmm.
and you've got sleep.
Yeah, physical
Yeah,
health, literally.
and just taking care of it, like
Yeah,
cooking, eating,
yeah.
because we know meals are expensive these days,
Oh
especially in
man,
SF. You gotta cook if you want to like
If you
save
want to
any money.
survive, unless you got like a
Yeah,
sugar daddy,
and
sugar
that's
mama,
time,
like
man.
yeah.
That's time. And so then after all that, carving out any time to work on art, like that's just it's tough. It's a
Yeah.
balancing act for sure. And so I just found myself feeling like kind of worn down and like just not feeling satisfied with like how my life was going. And it wasn't until like those weekends where I would just like not have any social responsibilities or like have to go anywhere, and I would just focus on making some music that
Mm.
weekend, and just seeing any progress in it, it gave a pep in my step. I just like I felt so
Woo,
satisfied. I was
nice
like,
man.
this is what I have to be doing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
this is it just feels right. Like your soul knows when like you're spending time on things that matter to you and that give you energy back.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Bro, I like how you mentioned that pep in the step and like
Hmm.
fueling yourself. I mean, I think about it like with this podcast, bro. Like every time I do this podcast, like minutes before, I just get nervous, bro. For some reason,
Why
it
you get
doesn't
nervous?
matter.
You're a good host, man. You're a
I
good host.
appreciate you, bro. But like, it's just, I guess it's just something that I love and I want to do so great at. I still get nervous, bro. I don't know why. I just can't explain it, bro.
Yeah,
I'm just like always like, oh man, I have to do good, good. But then when I'm in it, the flow state, like we mentioned, just
exactly. Yeah.
locks in, and I have that extra pep in my step, like you were saying, like
Yeah.
tomorrow morning I'm gonna wake up at 4 to make sure everything's all good, and I just want to do it. It's like
Yeah.
it's just so satisfying. It really like what is it? Feeds the soul, and especially nowadays, there's so much stuff that like drains our soul.
Right.
9 to 5, shout out. I mean, it
Yeah.
pays the bills. I appreciate,
Yeah.
but there's like a lot of stuff like HR stuff, and we
Yeah.
won't talk about it on the show because I don't want to get fired. You know what I'm saying? But there's just already like so much stuff like BS that we have to deal with around like life, family, all that, whatever, the mumbo jumbo. So like having something that like fuels you internally and then it can transfer to other aspects of life. Cause like the
Right.
weeks
Yeah.
where I'm like locked in with like the podcast and other projects that I'm doing, everything else just like is easier to stack. Like I'm like, okay, I can go to the gym. I can do this. I can do this. It's so much easier because the clarity is there.
Yeah.
But the moments like I don't do something that's for me personally, creatively or whatever that may be, it's like you feel stuck,
Yeah.
and it's draining, especially when post grad life. There's less of a community. I'm glad that you
Yeah.
mentioned
It's
that whole
tough.
like post grad thing, man, because I graduated 2020, like around COVID, and like having the community, bro, is it's so hard to find because in college
Yeah.
you can meet all your homies on campus, or even if
Yeah.
you like I commuted the first 2 years, but I still was like around with people. Now like-minded people around us, like same age range, it's so hard to find, bro. You have to
Yeah. It's
go to a
tough.
run clubs. Shout out to run clubs.
Yeah.
That's how we found each other. But like it's different. You have to intentionally find your tribe. Back
Yeah.
then, your tribe is next door or
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
roommate. So
Yeah.
it's like, which can be good or bad though, because sometimes it is
True. You gotta
annoying.
filter a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, because it is kind of annoying. I'm grateful I don't have a roommate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I can do more of my extracurriculars. What I'm saying?
Late night studying.
Yeah, yeah, late night
studying.
study, late
Yeah.
night study. This is better. But I do kind of miss that, like the camaraderie of just like, hey man, and the spontaneity is so much easier. Like
Yeah.
when you're on campus, bro. Like I don't know how MIT's campus was set up, but like in Fairfield, for example, it's a pretty small university, bro, where I went to. So it's like, even though it's kind of far, like walking from one side to another, like probably a 30-minute walk. That's nothing, bro, compared to 30 minutes in LA, bro. You can't do it.
It's 30 minutes anywhere by car.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, bro.
It's tough.
Yeah,
It's
it's
tough.
tough out here. So it's just I don't know, finding that community. I think is a
Yeah.
really important thing, and I love how you mentioned like carving out some time, like we have nothing to do, but then you do the creative aspect of it, bro. I've also been doing that too, intentionally,
Yeah.
kind of plugging out time. Like, all right, for this hour or whatever amount of time, I'm just gonna do the podcast stuff. I'm just gonna do a little bit of this because the best time to honestly, I mean, there can't really be a best time to do creative stuff because sometimes it just comes out of nowhere for me personally. Like I'm just like, which sucks though. When you're trying to sleep,
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I have like 6 hours of sleep, and then you're like, oh man, I just had an idea. I guess I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
type something up.
Oh, the
and then,
number of times I've woken up with a song idea and just like sleepily record it into my memos app and then
That's
go back
smart,
to bed.
bro, I have to do that actually for the because I'm just like, oh, I guess I gotta open the laptop, and then when I open the laptop,
Oh my, you go
the
all
blue
out.
light,
That's great.
no, bro, I'm telling you, because with I don't know with the phone I can't type it that
You
well.
gotta just
So
voice memo it, dude. You gotta voice
that you're
memo
right. I have to do that. See, we're learning on the Patty Show, y'all, because because all that blue light, bro. I wake up, I'm like, damn, I might as
it.
well
Yeah,
stay
it's
up.
over.
Then it's
Yeah.
so hard to go. Do you have like a nighttime routine though that you stick to though,
I've been figuring it out. But what's working for me is eating early. Yeah. Because if I
bro?
eat late, it just messes everything up.
That part, bro. No, honestly, that's another thing too, because you know how it is, bro. With cultured family. You know, I'm sure it's like Mexicans too. Indonesians are like this. They eat every hour. You know, food is like a love language for us, man.
Yeah.
And like dinner is always a big thing, and it's always usually dinner is probably the biggest meal usually for Indonesians.
What time is usually dinner?
Like with my family, bro, it could be as late as 8 or 9, bro. Like,
Yeah, I fall
you
into
know,
that
you know what I'm
trap.
saying,
Yeah,
bro? Like it's and now I sleep at around 10 or 9 because I have to be up for like every minute. So
yeah,
now, like how you mentioned, like eating earlier, bro, it's such a game changer, bro. Like a
yeah.
couple hours before, it's fully digested, but not too early where like you're hungry.
Right. Yeah, you don't
Because
want that.
that's we don't do that. I don't eat sleep anymore. You know, we're upgraded in this world. You know, thank you God, thank you.
Yeah.
But you know, that's honestly key, bro. Because like I said, shout out to my brother Julian that visited. When he was here, we ate pretty late, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
once in a blue moon, that's okay. But if
yeah,
you're trying to be disciplined, it's gonna be
yeah, bro.
tough.
It's hard, bro. Because I remember there was one day I forgot what we. I don't even remember what we ate to be honest, but I just know it was like past my bedtime, and when I was trying to sleep, oh man, I just couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
I was full, but I was just like, I'm like, oh god, I'm already thinking about when it's gonna pass through. That's my dream, bro. You know, so
Yeah.
it's a funny world. Adulting. #adulting, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate you sharing about the passions, man. You have a lot of passions. You also have a short film coming up that you're recording?
Yeah, I'm working on a short film with a friend right now. Yeah,
Okay,
she's an
okay.
actor in LA. I met her through a friend of a friend
Shout out to her.
via
Shout out.
college. And yeah, her name's Karen. Shout out Karen.
Okay, I would love to see this. I gotta see the.
Yeah, she'd make a good guest on your show too.
Oh, I love all the creatives. Shout out to you, girl.
Yeah.
But what's the premise of this short film? Because you also co-wrote it a little bit, right?
We co-wrote it.
Yes,
yeah.
sir. There we go.
We co-wrote it, and we're gonna be filming it probably in a couple weeks. Yeah, can't give away too many details, but we can give away the log line, which is a toxic friendship goes down the toilet bowl.
Okay.
How does that make you feel? A little intrigued? Yeah.
I'm intrigued now. I hope it's not about. No, I
just have to wait and see.
Yeah, to be continued. No, but that's awesome, bro. That you also help co-write that. You have like a lot of creative passions, bro.
I do. Yeah, I mean, I feel like at the core of it, it's all storytelling. Like, that's my main passion. Because even when I'm like dating, it matters a lot to me that the person I'm dating like appreciates my storytelling. It's like I remember I dated someone who like just didn't really. I don't know. She just wasn't super into it when I would like tell long-winded stories, and like that wasn't what broke us up, but like it was a compatibility.
Yeah. It was a component of it.
Yeah, because like even right now, right? I like telling the stories of my life and like things I like, and my music is all very like narrative based, like very heavy emotions that take you places, and then I have the film background as well, and so like that's where I'm at, and like I do have aspirations to make a short story anthology as well.
Okay.
But one thing at a time.
I love that, bro. But it's all the storytelling. I love that you're connecting everything's all connected to storytelling. And honestly, I never really thought about how powerful storytelling was until like honestly recently, bro. When you think about like everything, it's pretty much storytelling, bro. Even like wrestling, bro. I've been back into my WWE ground. Shout out to John Cena, everybody. He's a bad guy now, so that's one of my heroes. But yeah, storytelling is such a powerful thing, man. Like it's literally everything, whether it's music, whether it's like podcasting, whether it's acting, and that's the reason why I moved to LA for all the entertainment stuff, bro, all the acting and everything like that. It's such a beautiful thing, bro, when you actually realize, like, man, we all are like storytellers in our own capacity.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And it's
everybody has a story to tell,
bro. This guy hitting bars on the patio right now.
Even if you think your life is like mundane and boring, like you have still experienced things that no one else has. Like, right? Like we are all just like floating around in this universe, and like everything has to like connect and correlate and happen in a way for you to experience what you're experiencing right now. And like it may feel like, oh, someone's been on a podcast before, or someone's had tea before, but like all these things combining together, like your experience in this world is unique, and your story is unique, and you are the storyteller as well. So you can like put energy into like changing your story or augmenting it somehow. Like. Yeah,
man, storyteller Leo over here, man. My boy. See, this is why I had to have him on the pod, bro. I love that, man. Your passion for storytelling, it shows, man. You always.
Thanks.
I'm excited for the new songs that are gonna come out soon.
Yeah, they're in the pipeline. Yeah.
Yes, maybe Patty Show will be part of it or something. I can't sing though, bro. But if you want me to make a clapping sound, I'll do it. Just a feature. I'll be like, there we go.
Oh yeah.
Get
the mic over here.
Where's the mic? 5 seconds, just whoop like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a patty sample in there.
No, arigato. Bro,
That'd
that'd
be
be funny
good.
actually.
That'd be
Okay,
good. That'd be
we're plotting something, y'all, for the next song. It's just gonna be a snippet of the podcast, like
good.
a random clip of it.
Yeah.
But bro, continuing on that passion, bro, just to help
Yeah.
people, discover more of their passion, because I'm glad that you've found your passion, but not everyone has fully found it. It's also not like an Easter egg because I feel like we have multiple passions,
Mm.
like you mentioned. It's
Right.
just easier for the captions. You can have like those titles on YouTube, like
Right.
passion,
Right.
blah blah blah, all that stuff.
Yeah.
What is like the you think is the best way to uncover like hidden passions? Because you
Mm.
have a lot out there, man. Is there any tips for people to find those like hidden gems?
Right. Because it's like I was saying. Like when I was a kid, like I I liked art, but I just didn't really know it
Mm-hmm.
because like I would go to school and I would take these English classes, literature classes, and then
Yeah.
they'd be like, "Oh, your way of thinking about it is wrong." And then I'd be like, "Okay, I guess I hate this."
Yeah, I guess I'm not
Yeah,
creative, right? Yeah,
right, right.
yeah,
But I
exactly.
loved reading and I loved drawing,
Mm-hmm.
and like I said, I loved playing around with the piano.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And it's interesting because I read this book. The title is escaping me. It's something like "The Laws of Human Nature," something
Okay.
like that. And it's a thick book, but it's cool because it goes through like this dude's like understanding of humans. He's like got like these opinions and like, but
Mm-hmm.
they're pretty good. They're pretty good. And like one of the chapters does focus on like your purpose or your passions, right? And what he
Mm-hmm.
says is that like everybody has like a purpose that they can discover for themselves. And if you pay attention to you as a kid and what you are naturally like drawn to or inclined
Mm-hmm.
to do, you can see like the forming and like the etchings of like those passions. And so like for me, when I reflected on that, I was like, oh yeah, like I love to draw and I love to read and I love to like sing and like do all these things. I was a super shy kid, so I didn't do it in front of people.
Mm.
But
But it
like
was there. It was
that
there. The
passion was there.
foundation was there. Yeah.
And like so, going through life and like just experiencing things for myself and like developing these skills in different ways, like I have definitely you find that you spend time on something, you see how it feels. Did me spending time on playing the guitar for an hour today make me feel energized? Did it make me
Mm.
feel inspired? Did it fill my cup, or did I feel frustrated, or did I feel like bored, or did I feel like it just wasn't for me? Because I think that's the distinguisher, right? And so I think like everyone should like look back on their childhoods and see like what were they attracted to, like where did they spend time, and like because something I think about is like in San Francisco, people love rock climbing. Here
Mm.
too, like it's very
Yeah,
popular
yeah.
these
Like the
days, right?
bouldering and stuff like
And
that. Yeah.
like I loved climbing trees as a kid. I love climbing stuff, but when I went rock climbing a few times in SF, I just found that like yeah, it's fun, but I just realized that for me to like get really good at it and be like in that
Yeah, doing the crazy stuff,
yeah,
bro, with the fingers.
like
Oh,
I would have to like invest so much time,
mm, time and energy.
and
Yeah.
I would just rather be spending that on my higher priority passions, And so like there's a priority list to it, right? And like because you can be someone who loves crocheting, but you can also love ice skating, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not mutually exclusive. You can have multiple
Yes,
passions, like you
sir.
said,
Yeah.
and and then like you could also like I don't know. Um, Ice cream making, sure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. There. Yeah.
and
Any ice
like
cream makers out
and
there?
it's
Yeah.
just about like how you want to spend your time in this world, right? Like if you love ice skating the most, then you're probably going to spend more time on that
Of
than
course.
ice cream
Yeah.
making, right? And like, but you can always mix it up, and like maybe one day you turn 26 and you realize, oh, actually, ice cream making is way more fun than I had previously thought,
Yeah.
and then you just shift towards that. And like, there's no rules to this. You can just do whatever you want. It's just about what's giving you energy, what's making you feel happy, and like what's making you feel like you are your energy is transforming into growing yourself in a
Mm.
way that is more positive and productive and better than who you were before.
Bro, that's the beauty of it too, having like multiple coins, so to speak, that you can like plug in for the ice cream making, for the crocheting and all that stuff. And I love how you mentioned like uh the whole season's like, oh, when I turn 26, maybe I'm gonna put 80% of it on my ice cream making and then make it a business or something like that, because also I think the beauty of seasons in general, that's the only thing I love about being from the East Coast, like there's seasons, so
Right, right.
it's good to like chop things up. There are some seasons where like maybe you're just super locked in like 90% of the time for ice skating, let's say, right?
Right.
But then the next season, maybe it's only like 1% because you're like, man, actually, crocheting is fulfilling me a little bit. And that's the beauty of life, like you said. Just like there's no right or wrong answer. Teachers out there. Shout out to the teachers.
Yeah,
It'd be funny to have a just call. It's like, you remember Leo? You damaged him. But that's the beauty of it, and it does suck though, like being like a numbers person, for example, like because like you mentioned how you were like very like, oh yeah, I love how there's the answer for everything. How do you combat not worrying about not knowing the right answer, so to speak? Like is there any way for those people that are like super analytical, for example? They're like, I need to have 85.72% on ice skating. Like, is there any way to kind of detach from it?
I mean, I don't think it's like inherently a bad thing to like, because I feel like I'm a blend. I feel like I'm a blend of like the like STEM, analytical, really like
what is that? The left
one
and right
plus
brain or
one.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. Yeah.
But I'm also very like artistic and think differently. And like one thing you'll know about artists if you meet them in LA or anywhere else is that like the one thing that artists have in common is that they understand rules, but they then understand how to bend and break them according to what they want to see.
Yes, sir.
Right? Because like a painter, like they learn how to like the point of view right and like the lines straight or whatever. But then they're like, oh, actually today I want to make a painting that feels like a little like hectic.
Yeah,
and so that
abstract.
yeah, a little like chaotic, right? So then you'll break the rules and do that, or you'll be like, oh, I want to make it like happy, but like happy in like a this kind of way. And that's how it's not just their view towards art; it's also towards life itself, right? The way they think about society, that's why naturally you'll see people that are artistic like dyeing their hair or like wearing clothes that are a little different, right?
Yeah, different patterns.
They see the rules and they're like, well, I want to just bend them a little bit. And so I have that in myself too, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting because I'm like the engineer and the artist. And it's like Da Vinci too, right? Like he was painting the Mona Lisa and he was also making the
what
flying thing.
I'm glad you did the same thing.
You got it, yeah. And I think it's great to have both. And like it's just like, oh, what were we saying earlier about I forgot it. But it's just it's you can have blends and different proportions of things and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a matter of like not being obsessive, right? Because like if you're like, oh, I need to spend like 38% of my time, blah, 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 and like that's causing you stress, recognize that. Recognize that it's causing you stress.
Take a step back.
Exactly. And like awareness is always the first step of anything that like you're doing and like not recognizing, right? Because we all have those things.
Absolutely.
As human beings, we all have those like behaviors and things that we've either learned from our parents or learned from friends or learned from TV, and that we just don't realize we're doing because it's us doing it.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's important to just be like, oh, if you're feeling stressed, realize, okay, step back, go back in the timeline, see why you're stressed. Right?
Retrace the steps a little bit, like, okay.
And then just naturally make a plan. Okay, say like, okay, baby steps, what can I do differently next time that I notice this is happening? And so I think if you are someone who's very analytical and like want to be more loosey-goosey, then I think just spend time thinking more, right? Just spend time thinking like, why do I think this way? Why do people think this way? Why does society think this way? And try to just follow that thread, pull that thread, right? Because like, what's an example? Like, I don't know, like people drinking coffee, right? Very common thing. Everyone drinks coffee, caffeine. But you can just think like, okay, like why do people drink coffee? One thing is like, there's a lot of marketing around it, right?
Crazy. The industry is crazy, yeah.
And then maybe your parents drank it growing up, and like so you just naturally started to also, and like also I think the first time I had coffee it was so bitter. I was like, oh my god, I hate this shit. But then like it's the same thing that happens with anything in life. That's like the first time you have it's not the best thing. Like the first time you have beer, maybe like it's not awesome. But whenever you have something and then some good emotion comes out of it or something happy happens after it, your brain makes that connection, right? It's like,
yes, sir.
Oh, this thing is actually good.
Yeah.
And so like maybe you start having caffeine like every 2 days, coffee every 2 days, and then you start feeling energized from that, and you get productive, and then so you associate that with the coffee, right? And so then it won't taste as bitter next time. And so this is what I mean. Like just think about it. Like think about, and so like if you have heard like, oh, drinking 3 cups of coffee is bad for you, like then maybe think about like why, and think about like how, oh, maybe like I'm drinking coffee instead of eating. Maybe
that's
I'm drinking coffee because I didn't sleep well and because I'm eating too late.
You're compensating kind of thing.
And it's just like that's what artists do. Artists question what is like handed to them and like break it down and then rearrange it to just fit whatever goal they have, right? And so like if your goal is to be productive and you've been drinking a lot of coffee, maybe think about, okay, maybe I can drink less coffee,
Mm.
right? Maybe I can drink coffee at specific times. And that, I guess that goes back into being super analytical. But you know,
Oh,
it's a choose your own
bro,
adventure.
bro, I love it. Choose your own adventure, bro. Those are like my favorite video games, though. Shout out to video games,
And
like
books too. As a
books.
kid, I used to read those a lot
Yeah,
too.
man. Well, books I've been getting back into it now, but video games was I think. Also, random tangent about video games. I only know about the wing thing because you remember Assassin's Creed, the video
Yeah.
game. I think it's
Yeah.
the when he was in Italy.
Right, right, right.
He
Yeah.
had like all the flying devices. Shout out Assassin's Creed. I don't know if they still make video games, but
I'm sure they do.
something like that. I like those like choose your own adventure stuff. But
Because
honestly,
life is a choose your own adventure.
and I've seen it like I forget who says it, it's somewhere online, but like if you make your life like a video game, it can be really fun to be honest. Like leveling up those points of like
Yeah.
whether it's like on the gym, reading, or like your social life, and just finding ways you can like improve it, but also not like toxically improving it, where like everything has to be optimal. Like I have
Right,
to sleep
right.
at 5:59 p.m. on the dot. 5 seconds after, if not, it's gonna be a crappy night. Like
Yeah, you need balance, man. You need balance
exactly.
because you can do that for a few days, be strict, but then breathe. You
And
know.
yeah, and life is really unpredictable. I'll tell you
Yeah,
that much.
yeah.
You know, everyone can agree. You can schedule everything to the millisecond if you want. There's no way every single day is gonna be planned out. I'm sorry, like that.
Yeah,
That's just how it is. And but that's also the beauty of it. You never know what to expect. So try to live as present
yeah.
as you can, and also take action because in life, life's too short to not take action for our passions. And that's our final talking point of the day.
Mhm.
Actually, perfect transition. My question for you, my man, what do you think is what's the first step to turning passion into a career?
Oh, that's a good
Yes, a career.
question. Yeah, it's interesting question because once I decided in college that physics wasn't for me,
Hmm.
and I thought about what job do I want? I was thinking like, oh, I would love to work in Hollywood, right? I would love to
Hmm.
be a
You got
director.
the Hollywood face right there pushing itself.
Hey,
The
thank
beard,
you, I
okay.
appreciate that. I would love to like be behind the camera, like,
Do a little bit of
or even in
everything.
front of it,
Yeah, yeah,
like
of course, of course.
Um, but I knew this man who was he was like a special effects guy,
Hmm.
and he was kind of like a mentor to me.
Oh.
And I remember telling him like, oh, like I'm making short films. I'm like kind of thinking about maybe being in the entertainment industry one day. And he told it to me straight. He's like, look, I love that you're passionate about this, but I just want you to know
Hmm.
the entertainment industry, it's not all fun and glamour. It is
Yeah.
sometimes working with people that are not the most mature. It
Mm.
is sometimes sacrificing art for the corporations need to
Mm.
make money. He just told it to me straight,
Yeah.
and that made me take a step back. So I was like, okay, I
He's
don't
like, do
know,
I want this? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, right.
Um, so there's that, but there's also just the idea of when your passion becomes your work, the stress of work intertwines with your passion, and you run that risk, right? Because if you have deadlines and it's something you love to do, it's gonna suck the fun out of it. It's gonna
Oh,
suck the
yeah.
joy out of it
No,
because
that's true.
you're no longer thinking like, oh, how does this melody sound? How does it make me feel? It's is this melody catchy? Like,
Yeah.
is this
Oh
gonna make
my
money?
God.
Like,
Yes,
and
bro.
that's also the trap that a lot of artists fall into,
Hmm.
right? Like it's a common trajectory. Like the first things that like a lot of artists will make, it's so pure.
Yeah.
It resonates with so many people because it's like it's condensed experience.
Hmm.
But then the artist, becomes wealthy or famous, and
Hmm.
then
Yeah,
their
like you said, the
experience is
deadlines.
diluted.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and then the art they make after that, it becomes more generic and more like they're just not their soul isn't in it
Yeah,
anymore.
they're not taking risks. Also.
Yeah, and so it's all about balance, and it's all about like knowing what you want out of it. Because yeah, if you can swing a gig that is like your passion and it's not stressful, that's the dream, right? Like because people always ask me because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
I'm
working
here.
full time software engineering right now, right?
Hmm.
And I'm just doing the music stuff whenever I can carve out time. And people always ask me like, would you want to do music full time? And I'm like, listen, I would love to wake up every morning, have some tea, spend the first half of my day just playing the guitar, making some beats,
Yeah.
the second half writing songs,
Hmm.
like thinking about music videos. But that's not all what making music is. Making music as a profession is marketing. is understanding how you come off to people, is like planning, scheduling meetings, interviews, asking for
dates, all that
money.
stuff.
You know, it's just, it's a job. And I frequently think about this, like this one snippet of an interview with Childish Gambino. You know, Childish Gambino is one of my role models.
Oh, he's great, man.
Donald Glover, like
yeah.
that's one of my aspirations, to be someone who can take any medium.
Oh yeah, he's
like music, film, TV,
talented.
Yeah, and just like convey messages through that, and like powerful messages, right? Like This Is America, that song and video, like won the Grammy, like that's amazing. And this interview I watched with him, it said, I just remember this snippet, him saying like, it's still work. You know, it's fun and it's making music, but it's still work. And like, it's true. Like, but I will say, doing work that is your passion is still going to be leagues more fulfilling than doing work that is the opposite, right? And so as far as like getting to that, right, getting closer to that and away from like unfulfilling work, it's just about putting in the time and energy towards it, right? And like, if you're looking for your passion, that just means try a lot of things out.
Yeah.
And just noting how you feel, right? Like if you're interested in starting a clothing line, like make some designs, see how you feel. If you feel like, oh, that was a lot of work and I actually don't feel like that interested anymore, move on to the next thing.
And then like be honest with that too.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think also what happens is you get blinded by that passion. Let's say like you always loved fashion, like growing up, or even now. Leo's all very fashionable guys. You all can tell over there. Sponsored by what's it called? What's the clothing?
Madewell. Yeah, it's from
Madewell. Sponsoring the Patty Show eventually. But like you can get blinded for that too. Like I think of like athletes too, like basketball players.
Right.
All the stuff that's like, oh my God, they're getting paid to play basketball. They're getting paid to be on a talk show. Like Donald Glover was it, bro. Like it's work, bro. You know, you have to put in the reps. You have to put in all the nitty gritty stuff. Even like when you mentioned that whole thing with blending in the work and like the passion, bro. That's why I'm really scared of for like the podcast, bro, and just like hosting in general, because like it is work, bro. Like scheduling stuff, for example, like scheduling anything is so hard, bro. I'm like a one-man band doing all this stuff. People have to cancel. I have to move stuff around. This, that. I hate the scheduling part, you know. And then the tech stuff. Oh, there's that part. Oh God, I gotta do that. Blah blah blah. All that other stuff, you know. Thankfully, it is worth it for me personally. If you ask me, like, it is worth it because I feel more fulfilled after all the nitty gritty stuff is when it's posted and people like put comments and then good energy, all that stuff. But hey, work is work. It doesn't matter if it's like, you know, you're writing a new song, you're acting on screen or whatever. It's a job, man, and that's what people also don't realize. But finding that balance, like you were talking about, is super key. So you don't get like what is it, drained from it,
burnt out.
Like getting drained. It's one thing getting drained from 9 to 5, right? Because that's usually common. Like you know, like 9 to 5. Shout out to 9 to 5. But imagine getting drained from your passion, bro. That's that's a slippery slope. I mean, for you personally, how do you not get drained from like working hard on the music? Because you work hard, bro, with that music stuff, man. How do you just like take a step back from it? Like any tips on that, for example?
It's about, well, like, okay, let's say like when making a song, I don't love every part of it equally.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Like the part I love the most is when I'm first making the song, right? Like because every song I make, there's a core emotion. And it's like, okay, what instruments am I going to use to convey this emotion? What lyrics am I going to use? And like when I first see it, like the building blocks come together, and the first time I'm hearing like a preview of like what I'm thinking, and it like sounds good, like that's the best. That's the best feeling.
It's satisfying.
But when I'm like spending like hours editing vocals, just making sure like things are like on pitch or like, you know, on time, that's just grueling, man. Like
I feel you, man. Yeah.
And so it's about like balance, because you like, instead of like 8 hours straight of editing vocals, I can maybe do 2 hours, take a break, go for a walk, get back to it, take a break, play some guitar, maybe work on a different song and do that part of the song, making that I do like, you know, that gives me energy. And so it's a push and pull, it's a give and a take, and like you never want to be running empty. So if you notice you're starting to get like tapped out, do something else that does give you energy.
Wow.
Right? Drink some tea, watch a movie, and like
drink some tea, watch the Patty Show podcast.
Exactly,
Stop playing,
yeah.
You know?
Honestly,
Stop playing,
this
man.
podcast is great because it's all about that, right? It's all about you are what you eat. And if you're consuming a podcast that is about positivity and encouragement, then you are going to have those reinforced
Mhm.
thoughts. And next time you're feeling drained, you're going to be thinking like, okay, I just got to focus on something that's going to give me energy
Yeah,
again.
that's gonna fill
Yeah,
fill my cup, like you were mentioning, man.
exactly. So you
Now,
just got the key thing you just got to remember is never let your cup get empty.
mm,
You know,
I mean, and then that's really good when it comes to like just giving in general, honestly, bro. Because like you really can't pour onto others with an empty cup. You know, I mean,
exactly.
it's like a
Yeah.
lot of Bible stuff. We going to church today on the patio show, bro. Like, but that's like one of the key things, man. Because if your cup is empty, just giving, you're not really doing anything for
Yeah.
people. So if
Eventually, you start giving pieces of your cup, and that's not
hey,
good.
oh, bro, ooh, that's a good. You're right, but you're already giving the cup, and now I have nothing.
Exactly.
Now I can't fill it up again. So you kind of have to, and it's going back to the whole taking a step back and
Mm-hmm.
acknowledging, okay, maybe I'm not in the best point in my life right now, but and that's okay because life is never always all the way up. It's never always all the way down. There's like the ebb and flow, you know, and like we were mentioning with the seasons, you know, some seasons you might have to plant the seeds a little extra, go on grind mode. My boy Leo on grind mode, you know, plant extra seeds.
Yeah.
But hey, man, once the season on the come up, everything's gonna blossom, and before you know it, it's like it was worth it. Me taking
Exactly.
a little, you know,
Trusting the vision. It's the vision.
trusting the vision exactly. And what it seems as if like you're taking steps back. It's more like you're pulling the arrow farther back to make it
Yeah.
fly. You know,
Exactly.
that's how we
Yeah.
do it in the Patty Show, y'all. You know what I'm saying? But bro, that's yo, man. This guy's just always with some fire, man. Oh my goodness. What's the Spotify again, bro? So they can find you. And
Leopoldo.
Leopoldo, and then Instagram is what is it again?
I got one, Leopoldo Music.
There we go. We got a lot of that stuff, man. All those projects are gonna be amazing, man. Anything to kind of wrap up all those messages. You had a lot of great fire message, man,
Hey,
for everybody
thanks.
with
Yeah.
passions. Anything to wrap up and like give to a bow to the audience out there?
Yeah, a little summary.
Need a little quick, yeah, a little.
I guess, you know, recognize what gives you energy, recognize what you have fun doing, and know why you are doing it. Because just the same way with physics, I realized I was doing it, I was pursuing it in a way of like glory and like wanting recognition for
That
it.
Nobel Prize.
Yeah. But I still had that passion. And so now
Mhm.
when I think about it, I'm like, okay, yeah, I wouldn't want to do physics like teaching or academia, but I do love storytelling and I would love to tell stories that teach physics as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I love teaching. I'm like, so that's how that connects. And like, it's all about just exploring and like pay attention to what you liked as a kid, invest some time and energy into exploring it more as an adult, pay attention to how it makes you feel, pay attention to being balanced with it, you know, take care of yourself, make sure you have energy to do what you love, and collaborate with people.
Oof,
You know,
that part.
like learn from others, especially in things that you are learning about or are interested in, because everyone has things to share and everyone has stories to tell. And don't give up.
Man.
If things get hard, take a step back, think about why it's stressing you out, reevaluate, make a plan. You know, again, you're the storyteller. You are the one responsible for making your day amazing, and you always have the ability to do it. You know,
My brother, bro, this man, I told y'all some heat right here. The storyteller, you're the storyteller, bro. Another flower to you, man. Thank you again for your time at the Patty
hey,
Show.
I appreciate it,
Thanks
Patty.
for the
Yeah.
good energy always, man. I'm glad we met that run club and
Yeah.
catch us on some more run clubs and other stuff like that, y'all. You can find him at what is it again? At what are the handles, bro? On Instagram, it's at
Leopoldo Music.
Leopoldo
Yeah,
Music.
also, I'll give my personal Instagram too.
Yeah.
Leonidas DiCaprio.
There we go. Yes, there we go. And you can follow us at Patty Show Podcast at PATTYSHOWPODCAST, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Website is pattyshow.podbean.com or personal website pattysetiati.com/podcast. And yeah, this episode is actually coming out tomorrow, so
Whoa,
it's gonna be a fun one, y'all. Keep pursuing your passions. Take a step back when you need to. Don't give an empty cup. Fill up your cup before you pour upon others. Like in the airplane, right? The help yourself before. Yeah, right? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
That's the teaser for our traveling, bro. But I appreciate you again, man. Bottom of my heart. Arigato,
Hey,
all
thank
that
you,
good
Patty.
stuff.
Appreciate that.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for the lighting setup and everything.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
amazing. We're going to end with a little arigato on 3, bro, just for the good energy.
All
so
right.
whenever you're ready. Oh, let's do it with the T, actually.
Oh, yeah, with the T.
Maybe do like a little clink.
Yeah.
Okay. Ready? Clink. 1, 2, 3.
Arigato.
Arigato. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for joining me on this episode of The Patty Show. I hope you had as much fun as I did exploring the crossing point of the 3 P's: passion, pleasure, and positivity. If you want to keep the Patty Party going, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and all social platforms at Patty Show Podcast. Share this episode and leave a positive review. PattySetiati.com/podcast, as well as PattyShow.podbean.com. I've got more of your Patty Show needs. In the meantime, keep passionate